Okay, guys, welcome back to another tutorial class on attributes. As you all know, we've been working on attributes for quite some days now. So, today we are going to continue from where we stopped. The last time we stopped at draggable, and today we'll be continuing from end type. But before we continue, let me quickly introduce myself to you. I'm Ademola Code by name, also known as Mr. Indelible, and you are welcome to Smartintel Academy, a place where you can learn programming from scratch to professional. So I will be looking into the other aspect of attributes today. Hopefully, we should be able to complete the attributes for today. So let's look at end type. We start with end type. End type is used in the form tag. Whenever you are creating a form and you want to make use of you want to accept images or file alongside with your form, then you make use of end type. Let's see how it's being used. If we have if we have a form, let's use this as this side. Okay, there is a form here already, and we have action. Remember, we are going to put end type here. Then it's going to ask us what type of encoding type do we want. Is it application stroke XW form URL encoded, or multi-path stroke form data, or text stroke plain? So if we choose text of plain, definitely all the information it will be taken at the back end will be plain. So we are choosing multi-path. Why we are choosing multi-path is that we are going to upload a particular file item here, which is image. So for this image to be able to get to the back end, we need to use multiple paths to encrypt that object so that we can get the data of this object at the back end. So that is what end type is being used for. And if we run it, it doesn't have anything to do because it works with the post method. It runs with the post method, and it has nothing to do mostly than to send information to the backend. So you can't see the effect at the front end here because it's working basically with the server. Then we go to the for. What do we use for to do? We use it to identify the the input that the input a label is working for, because we use for as an attribute of a label or an output. So let's see how we can use for an output, for a label. Now we have input field here, which is images. I want it to be easier, so I can say label, then label for label for what? I will give it a name. That's a file name. So label for file, then I'll give it what? Upload image. So what this one is doing is that when you click on this upload image, it's going to open this file. If I use the same label in this place for the first name, so let me say label for f name, and I say what, and I give it a name here. I give the label first name. In this case, we are going to see the outcome to be this. Can you see, this is the label, this is the label. So if I click on this, you can see that it opens it, but you won't understand what the file name, what the for does here, because normally if you want to do it, you have to click on this choose file because it will choose. So immediately you click on this, it will focus attention on the place you want it to go. So but in this one now you will get it right. So when I click on this, I think okay, I think this is disabled. First name input, yeah, is disabled. Sorry. So let's enable it so that we get what we are looking into. So we refresh now. So when I click on this for, oh sorry, I didn't give it an ID, sorry. It's supposed to be ID, not name. ID F name. Okay. So if I refresh now and I click on it, it's going to focus. Can you see the cursor blinking inside the input field? So that is to tell you the function of for is just to focus the cursor to the option you want the user to click on or type on. Then we go to the next one, we have the form. Now we have the form. Inside the button, field set, input, label, meters, object, and so on and so forth, output, select, and testera. You specify the name of the form the element belongs to. So let's see how this form is being used. I think it's different from the normal form for for creating a form. So it's not different. So that means we can still use this form attribute in each of these text. So for example, form action, we have form here, we can still use form according to what is, you can say form one here. So that means if you have more than two form, you can use that. In the field set, you can say form equals form one. And where is the form one? This is the form one, the ID. So it work with the ID of the form. It work with the ID of the form. You understand? It's just like when you are creating you want to create about two, three, four forms, and you want to be using next, or you want to use submit, then if you go to the next form, you can do this. So when they click submit, it will load and go to the next, and continuously that way you can make use of that. So most of these attributes, the form attribute, sorry, is used when you are working or you want to use it to send information to the backend. So all dis, any attribute inside the form here, all dis form attributes are attribute that goes into the server. So if we start to use dem here, we can't see it unless we are trying to send information to the server, then you get to understand better. But let's see how we can make use of dis. Let me just copy dis form here, and let's see what we have as an output on dis. Should I create a new, okay, let me create a new div here. Okay, I see why it's giving me headache. Okay, so let me just paste this one inside here. So we have a form here now. So form action, then we have this. Let me change this action page to just PHP to change it to base.html so we can have it within our form. So it says ID should be form one and we have this. So let's see the outcome. So this is the new form. So what is your favorite color? Let me say green. And you click submit. Can you see it says base.html favorite color equals green. But because we have it as a, let me check the first form. Okay, second form. Okay, let me try the second. Okay, we have green name, email code, and email 00@gmail.com. And let's submit and see. And see that it's still giving us just only this. So it was after this has been done, then the next one, which is this, will be displayed. So that is what I see. Then let's try to see from their own aspect. They said element located outside the form but still a part of the form. Can you see now? So these elements are still part of this form but they are located out of the form. Then can you see? So if you have a form and it's locate and you have your button outside the form, or you have other information you want to generate but you don't want to put them inside the form, you can put them outside the form and attach them to the form. So once they are being filled and they click submit, all the information will be gathered together and sent to the backend server. So that is what the form does by indicating or locating that form from the angle, from that angle, sorry. So let's look at the next one. That is we have form action. The form action can be used inside the button also and can be used inside the input field. Let's see how it's being used. Okay, form action, can you see it here? So the same thing as we have action here is the same thing we have it here, but you are going to write together here as form action, then you put the name of the page you want your form to go to. So why do they do it this way? It says a form with two submit button. The first submit button submit the form data to action page.php and the second submit to action page 2.php. So you don't want to start writing the same form again. So you decided to use two button. When they make use of the first, when they click on the first button, it's going to submit to action page one, and when they make use of the second button, it's going to submit to action page two. So that is that this you can use this for all these next and then previous. I think that can be used for that too, for you to move to the next page and then still carry the data on the page you are moving away from to the next page at the back end. You can still do that also. So that is the main purpose of using the form action attribute in the tag. Then we have headers. We've talked about headers. So inside the headers we have the td and the th. This specify one or more header cell. A cell is related to a table. So when we have headers, they are the headings of a table. Once you see td means table data and th means table head. Can you see? So they are being used inside inside a table. So they are also an attribute that you can make use of in a table. So inside this th table and the td table, then you have the headers here. So the headers is to specify the name, because this is the head here. The head has an id which is name, and you have headers name. Where you want this item to be located is under name. You understand? So if you do it this way, it's fine. And if you write your code very well by putting the right um row, the right data under the right headings, you will still get the same thing. As it is here now, the td is written synonymously the way the tr is written. Excuse me. Okay. So if you look at it, we have name, email, phone number, address. This is just a normal way that you can also write, and all dis data will fall under the same heading. But I will try something out now. So in that case, I will be copying dis table to try out something. And what I want to try out, I will try to change the position of this number and see if they are going to be arranged under each other. So let me use index at this point. Div is needed. So we have it this way. For the first time, let's see how it display with the header. I think I need to go to link index. Can you see that they all display under each headings? So now let me try to change it. Let me bring phone number to the top. Okay, and bring email to the bottom. So in that case, we have this. Then I'll see how it goes. When we refresh, you can see that we have name having numbers, email having Joe as name, phone numbers having address, and then address having some email as its data, which means this does not have so many importance to do with what you are doing. Is that clear now? So you just have to note that the attribute is not that important for you to make use of when you are working. So it is not all attribute, like I do say, it is not all attributes that are meant to be used. So we go to the next one. We go to height. The height is used to specify the height of an element. So if we want to specify the height, let me quickly look at how it's being used. Normally we can use CSS to do this, but if you still want to use the height, you can see width and height. So I'm not going in depth in this. So for you to use width and height, you can use this. So we've talked about it inside the HTML tag area. So you can use it this way. and that is if you are using canvas. So you can also use it inside the embed tag height and width, and you can also use it inside the iframe tag. You can use it in the image tag, you can use it inside the what's the name, inside the submit tag to define how your submit button will look like. So that is that under height. Then we have the eye. You can see that they are okay. We have hidden. Before we go to eye, let's go to hidden. Hidden is used to hide values. You can use to hide whatever you want to hide. So if you notice that some transactions, sometimes when you are on a website doing some things, you just see that what you don't input yourself will be displayed alongside what you input. So it's mostly used to hide item. So if I try it here by putting hidden inside this John Doe, let's save and see. Have John Doe. You can see that here we don't see John Doe anymore. John Doe is hidden, but that does not say it's not still there o. It's there. If we look at the source page now, you will see John Doe. Can you see it here? And the hidden is also there. So that is that on hidden attribute. So you use it to hide some elements, some informations you don't want on your website if you are not ready to edit it. Then we have I. How do we use I? The I is used to specify the range that is considered to be a high value. When you have some parameters, you can see we have mean, low, high, max and value. All these are also attributes. Fine, it is used in here in the meta tag. It's used inside the meta tag here because the meta tag you can use to measure, to display readings on your web page. So we have the meta tag, then we have the minimum, that's the minimum, the low, the high, the maximum and the value which you will specify. So also this min and max can also be used in different places like number input. So when you use input type numbers and you want to specify the minimum of number and the maximum of numbers, you can use it and so on and so forth. Definitely you can also use low and high in other places. Excuse me. So that is what we use high for. It's mostly used with meta tag. Then we have href. We've talked about this severally. We use it to link pages. Then href language, we've talked about this too, is used to specify the language you want your link to be encoded with. http equivalent, this one is in the meta tag. We use it to pass information into the header. So and we use it to display value of con ten t. Let me just quickly open it for you to see how it's being used. We've talked about ID, we've not talked about ISMAP. So ISMAP is used to specify a server side image map. So image that are on the server side can be, you can use ismap to get dem. So when we look at HTTP equivalent, you can see how it's being used. So you have the tag HTTP equivalent, then you have the con ten t. Dis con ten t can be anything, can be whatever you want to display or whatever information you want to give the value. But for HTTP equivalent con ten t is equals to 30. Den the ismap is used to specify images at the server side. For example, can you see image source author, then ismap. So it's used to specify it, what type of image is this and the kind of image it is. So you can see specify an image as a server side image map. So that's the function of ismap. Then we have kind. Kind is used, I've shown you this one earlier, is used within track to specify what kind of um music or video are you watching. I think I've shown that before when we were talking on about controls. Then we've talked about label just now. The way you use label for form, you also use label for track too. Then we have lang. Lang is to specify the language of your website or your form con ten t and so on and so forth. Can you see what we mean by kind? Kind subtitle, so label English. So that is the function of kind and label. Then we have list. List is used to list is used for element that contain predefined options. For example, an input um element that have several list options. Let's see the list, how it's being used. Then we have loop. Loop is the one that allow your audio to start all over again. So you can use your loop inside your audio or video tag. And it should have an option. Let's see also. So the list attributes you can see input list browsers. So data list ID browsers. So immediately they click on this input list, it's going to display all the information in this data list. It's like specifying your data list already with an ID. Then inside your input form, you just call the list and the name of the ID. So immediately they click on it, it's going to display all dis con ten t in the ID. It's going to present all the con ten t in the list. Then when we look at the loop, loop is used inside your audio or video tag. Can you see? And what does it do? It only specify to your audio, it allow your audio to play continuously till infinity. Then we have low, we've talked about low, max, we've talked about it. Then max length is just to specify the numbers of length you want. Maybe in your text box you want your text box to only accept character of 200, like the way Twitter is doing for everyone now. You cannot tweet more than 600 characters, I think so. So in that case, it's the work of maximum length. So once it gets to that maximum length, your text text or your input field will not receive any character again. The maximum of character allowed is whatever you specify. For example, let me quickly do that to show it for you. I think we have text error in here. Yes, text error. So let me just say max length 50. So I'm going to try and then log into that max length. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, can you see that it's complete now? It can't go again. See, can you see how I'm pressing the keyboard? It will not go further than 50 because that is what I have specified as the max length at the back end. So that is that about max length. Then we have media. Media specify what media or device is linked to the document. So when we check that, how did they make use of the link? The media with a tag, with area, with link, with source and with style. So let's look at media. How do we use it? Can you see that? It's just to specify a link with a media attribute. So you have to specify a link and you have to specify the media attribute for it. When you look at this place too, we have the link and we have the media attribute. So and this media attribute is mostly used for responsiveness. It's used for responsiveness. So that is what we call media query. So this will allow the screen to change its orientation, its view to any kind of devices is coming in contact with. So once you change the media, it's going to change to that size of media you have provided. Like this one I say minimum color dash index will be 256. So whenever I get to the media, when you get to media of this screen, it's going to change. Can you see? You always have a link and also a media title. So that is what media does. Then we have multiple. Multiple specify that a user can enter more than one value. You can use it for input field and you can use it for select view, select um select tag. So multiple is when you are creating a platform whereby you want your user to select two or more items. Maybe you are using checkbox. So when you are using checkbox or a radio button and you want them to select multiple, you can use the multiple. So option two, here now they can select multiple options and that is for select. And for input they can what? They can input several images. Like now on social medias you want to upload about 50 images, you will select everything and you upload. Once you upload, what is happening there is that the input feed is just one but it's collecting multiple data, which is multiple images and video from you. The same thing is what happens when you want to upload videos, multiple videos. So that is the function of multiple. And if we are to try that, we put that here. If I say multiple and I save. If I try to refresh and try to upload, I can select more than one picture and it will tell me everything is fine. Let's go. So can you see? It's showing two files. So that is the function of multiple. It will select multiple item for you to upload. So then we go to the next one, which is muted. Muted is an attribute that is used in your audio and video. You can decide to mute it or unmute it. Can you see? Just the way you add your loop, you will also add it to that angle. So whatever you want your video or audio tag should have as an attribute is what you're going to use. So if you put muted, be ready to create a function that will unmute that muted for whenever they click on the speaker icon. So that is that. Then we go to name. We've used name in this form severally, and I have told you the reason why you use name when I was talking about this in, I think, first attribute tutorial or second attribute tutorial. We've talked about the reason why you must have a name for each of your form elements, and the reason is that you should be able to get it from the back end. Then we have, okay, that is all we have for HTML. Other things I'm seeing here now are related to JavaScript, which we need to work on when we get to JavaScript. But I think we can still work on no validate, on but, on abort, on after print, and some other ones. So I think from on abort we have script in there. All those ones are scripts. So we are talking about JavaScript from on abort. So the next one we just have to talk about is onValidate. So onValidate is used in the form tag. You use onValidate in the form tag and is used to specify that the form should not be validated when submitted. Sorry, I said on, sorry, it's not on, it is no validate. So no validate is to be used in a form data, and it means you should not validate the form when submitted. So when we look at it, can you see? You just put no validate in here and the form will be submitted but it will not be validated. So that is what we are going to talk about, and I really say thank you very much for listening, and I hope what you've learned you will put them into practice, try out several magics, and ensure that you like, share, comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter and Truth Social, on Twitter as tinytrue, or you search for Ademola Code, Mr. Indelible, and on Truth Social you follow me on Ademola Code. Once again, thank you and have a wonderful day.